right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Vince Devall, Eagle Homes, sponsored by Caldwell Banker. I'm here with Mr.
Brad Brewer, same crap he said, different week.
Yeah.
We do have an extra person here again this week. Thanks, by the way. Last week we had Mayor, was mayoral candidate. I have struggle saying mayor oral. It's a real weird word for me. Candidate John Schultz. The day after we had him, he is now Mayor-elect John Schultz. So
Yep. Congratulations.
70, almost 75% of the vote. It was
a blowout.
Is that a landslide?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a landslide. So congratulations, John. I think he takes the official seat in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think he said 2 weeks after election.
Yeah,
So
well done.
Yeah, so we're here with one of our team members, Stephen Covalt. And so we're gonna sit here and drill the hell out of Stephen today. It's the first time he's been on a podcast, let alone our podcast. So kind of excited about this to have one of our team members here.
This is gonna be fun. By the way, also might be the first time Vince has had a co-host that's got a lower handicap or a higher handicap.
Higher handicap in golf. Yeah, that's all right. I won't hold it against him.
We don't know what Steven says, but we hear it's high.
So, Stephen, tell us a little bit about yourself. Family, likes, dislikes, where are you from, things like that. Let's start with, what got you into real estate?
Okay, well, that was a loaded question.
That's where I start.
There's actually 4 questions.
Yeah.
You can take them whatever order you want.
Family, well, I guess I'll start. I was born and raised in Crystal Lake, Illinois, which is probably like 30 minutes south of the border. Great town. Went to college. I went to Drake University.
Let's look at the camera over there.
I went to Drake University out of high school, played football, and then I actually ended up transferring to Ripon College.
Okay.
Met my wife there.
This is pre-portal transfer.
Yeah. I didn't even have to enter the portal.
Okay.
I just did it.
You just did it.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
But I went from Division I to Division III. Had a little bit more fun, a lot more laid back, and
I was about to say you probably went from being a second string. What position did you play?
I was a quarterback.
Oh, I was a quarterback in high school.
Were you?
Yeah,
I can tell.
Yeah, we're smart.
I was gonna transition to like a wide receiver position at Drake. So then I was like, I wanted to still play quarterback. So I wanted to start and I just wanted to play and have fun. So I went there and I did start right away after an injury. And then I didn't give up to the position after that. So
nice. That's awesome. And you met your wife there?
Yep.
How long have you and the wife been together? What's the wife's name?
9 years now. Her name is Corinne.
Okay.
She's a teacher at Karcher.
School. Shout out to our teachers. They've had a rough run at it over the last few months with the vote and everything. So
yeah,
glad she made it through that.
They're staying strong.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we've been together 9 years now. We've been married for almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years this year.
I'm glad. Corinne, we're going to ask you later if you got that right.
I'm better at dates than she is. So
okay, fair enough.
I am too in our relationship.
I'm not.
I can tell you what day we started dating. I don't know what date we got engaged, but then she does know our anniversary, but she screws up. It just happened in March. I actually feel bad. Neither one of us acknowledged it this year. I'm usually pretty good about it.
Oh,
the
wow.
anniversary or the engagement?
The date we met. It was March 9th. That was our first, I guess we'll call it date, but we
there you go. Thank you.
met. Yeah, Vince always makes sure we're on camera. He's like an on-camera producer and director.
We don't have someone standing over here telling us what to do.
Yeah, this is low budget, if you guys haven't noticed. So anyway, so good. I'm glad you know the dates. That's important.
Yeah.
She'll love you now.
Yeah.
What so married almost 5 years. Kids?
Yep. 2 kids, 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old.
You don't have to give their name. Was it 2 boys, 2 girls?
1 boy, 1 girl.
1 boy, 1 girl. Who's the older one?
Boy.
Okay.
Is he a terror?
He is.
Boys have a lot of energy.
They
He's
do.
a wrecking ball, and my daughter is a walking accident.
That's my oldest, so I can't. I know how you feel. Like she trips over a dog, breaks her arm. That legitly happened.
And his youngest is a walking
terror.
typhoon.
We call her TNT for a reason. She's like dynamite, just boom, explodes.
Mhm.
So yeah. So
Son
awesome.
though.
What so you graduated from Ripon. What'd you decide to do after you graduated? Did you go right into real estate or
No, so my degree was exercise science.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna do either physical therapy or personal training. Turns out physical therapy is a lot more schooling. So I went the personal training route and I worked in Milwaukee area in Brookfield.
Okay.
At a commercial gym, Experience Fitness, did that for 3 years total. And then the reason, and it kind of segues into how I got into real estate because I met a realtor and he was just on a treadmill one day, always really friendly with me, and just decided to talk to him, and he became a client of mine. And
wait, he became a client of yours, even though
became
he
a
was a
client.
realtor?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
interesting.
became a personal training client.
Oh, personal training client.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. All right. I was thinking
So,
real estate.
yep, throughout like a year or so, he kind of just was telling me how I have a personality for, getting into real estate if I had any interest in it.
He lied to you?
So he lied to me.
We won't throw him under the bus right
They
now.
told him we jabbed him in there.
And I'll give him a shout out, Tom Curtis, if he's listening. He's still in the business. He's trying to retire, but accidentally does 20 deals trying to retire. So at least.
Man, accidentally. That's got to be
And
rough.
the fun fact about him is he's never done a lead in his life.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for him.
So,
Well, how long has he been in business?
probably over 30 years. or
Yeah. So I think, the market wasn't as saturated as it is now with agents.
No. But he was a good guy to learn from, and just kind of, made me feel like how important a referral can be,
Right.
and kind of drilled that into me. So very grateful for him, because if not for him, I wouldn't be in real estate right now.
Where's he based out of?
Elm Grove area.
See, if he actually retired, he could just send you all those referrals and you could give him a
He
nice
sends me
referral.
only a few a year, so Tom, you got to step that up.
Yeah, just retire, send them all to Stephen. He'll like that.
And then that 30 deals Steven does a year will be 50 deals. That'd be awesome.
It's all right. We're good with this.
So, Steven, real estate, you got into it. How would you, if you're telling another agent, brand new agent joining the real estate game, what'd be one or two tips that you were like, oh, I wish I would have known that or did that my first year?
That's a good.
That wasn't even on our list. I just thought of that. Sorry.
Yeah. I would say find a good mentor.
Yep.
But that'd be my number one thing, because if you try to do this on your own right away, there's just so much that you need to know and you need to learn. So if you find a good mentor or join a good team, if you eventually want to be on your own, I recommend being on a team, having support, a transaction manager, just because it's just too much to do on your own. And it's actually hard to get business in that first 6 months to a year.
Right.
And then my other point would be is if you're going to try to jump in full time, have some money saved up, because it can be, unless you have all these deals lined up ahead of time, it can be kind of hard to get yourself going.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I like that. I mean, you even already gave kind of your mentor a shout out early on here, right? And then the first thing you say is a mentor, someone that's really going to help, be there to answer those questions and support you when needed. You hear that all the time. Agents get in, they think they're joining the right brokerage, and then there's no one there to answer their questions. And I'll shout out to our brokerage, Coldwell Banker. I mean, I truly think we have top line support that is really well. I mean, we reach out to John, Tom, the office, like they are very responsive. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I know you've made comments too. I don't think if I need to get a one of the hold of one of the three, I can really quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think I've gone an hour.
Responsive. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll just, John Rowan's the first one I'll usually, because we worked with him the longest since he recruited us.
Yep.
And sometimes I'll wait for him. I don't know if I've ever gone 2 hours without him responding to me.
Yeah.
It's just, so we have really good support. Also, I like, and I think, I don't know if you guys with previous brokerages and stuff, I like the fact that our brokers they're not selling. So we're not competing with them for listings like that. They're truly just there as a support mechanism. I think it's a huge factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, great. Well, why, if you're working with your clients, what client do you like to work with the most? The buyer, the seller, first time home buyer, investor,
This is basically asking if you have a favorite.
It does. Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
It's okay to have it.
I'd say I have a tie with,
Okay.
I really enjoy working with first-time home buyers just because I know how that feels. I know how, like, I've experienced it and I know how it can be when you don't have a good agent representing you. I'm kind of helping you through the ins and outs. Especially depending on how the market is too, because if it's if it's an aggressive market, you want somebody, that has some experience to navigate you through it. And then I do love working with sellers too. I think I think most agents prefer to work with sellers, but I still really enjoy working with any buyer, but specifically I love the first time home buyers.
Yeah.
We won't leave Stephen hanging out here on all these questions. What are your favorite clients?
Yeah.
No, that's a great question. I'm right there with you. First time home buyers or buyers that haven't been in the market for,
Yeah.
15 or 20 years, like these downsizers. I'm working with a couple that are looking to relocate to Wisconsin from Illinois. They've owned their house for 24 years, I think it is. And they're just like, this is kind of all new to them.
It's basically like a first time home buyer.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so long.
And I think I also like building that trust. I like what you said there, Stephen, where, you're there to support them. You're there to kind of be that shoulder to lean on or that hand to hold while they go through that process. Cause it's, this is a big purchase, right? Like this is a big commitment, a $200,000 house, they're paying $400,000 over 30 years. Yeah, do the math. It really is about that much. So I would say first time home buyers. And then my second one is investors. I really enjoy investors. For those that don't know, I have investment properties. I've flipped a few. I've had quite a few rentals throughout my life that I really like, looking at the numbers and seeing if it's really going to work for a client and then figuring out how we could make it work. So those are probably my top two. What about you, Brad?
I have some similars. I wouldn't call it I don't know if it's my favorite, but first time home buyers, there's a soft spot there. And I think that comes from, I always tell people if teaching and coaching like in high school paid better. And like, so we always appreciate our teachers. So God bless all of you, because I always sound greedy saying this, but I do want to make more money, stuff like that. So if it wasn't about the money, I'd be a teacher and a coach.
Yeah.
A teacher and a coach.
Yeah.
So
Same.
probably basketball would be, because it was my first sport that I actually know a lot about. I just don't idiot in golf. So yeah, but I had that soft spot for the first time home buyer. Otherwise, actually my favorite on the selling side is a particular type of seller. And I've done enough in my career, and it's really cool, is I love when that person that's had that home, like you were talking about, like for so many years, but they're getting ready to downsize.
Yeah.
Those downs, they're usually our seniors, they're usually our retirees. And there's really cool history. I've got one right now from a past client. It was the parents' home. So I'm dealing with him and his three brothers. And I just sat, it was a 2-hour listening appointment on Saturday, and they were just telling stories. And I was really enjoying it because it was kind of cool, like just to hear the history. You could just hear like you could just see the look on their face. I think even one of them got a little like.
I'm about to say that the excitement and the kind of
Yeah.
the sadness all mixed together.
Yeah, it was kind of
The
cool.
emotion.
And I love those clients because there's that passion, and they're really super, like, first time home buyers. I guess the teacher side of me, because teachers, I think you do it for the appreciation.
Right.
That's why I think you should always appreciate your teachers, because it's not about the money for them. What they get joy out of, it usually is seeing the effects of what they've done.
Right.
And those are two clients, the first time home buyer and that seller that's kind of selling their at least their big home, the home that they raised their kids in. I just like those are favorite. And my third would be, I started in real estate investing. So I have a big passion for my investor clients. I love helping them, whether it's a buy and hold rental or fix and flip, accomplish that goal that they have, which is usually make money and keep doing it again and again and again, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So those are mine.
Stephen, if you had to coach a sport, would it be football?
It would,
Yeah.
Football, then baseball.
Yeah.
Which was the second.
So do you see yourself being a parent coach as a kid, as your son grows up and
Absolutely
decides to do soccer, and you're like, I don't know crap about soccer, but I guess I'm coaching this sport, right?
I think I'd let somebody else coach that. Definitely the flag football,
Yeah.
football, and then t-ball, baseball,
Mhm.
and then my wife is a softball coach too. So
Oh,
I think
okay.
she'll probably take over that aspect of things, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing like a husband wife
Tag team. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I played and coached girls volleyball or I didn't play girls volleyball. I mean, that'd been interesting, but definitely coached traveling girls volleyball for a long time. And so everyone asked me as my two girls are playing for Burlington Elite in like their early, developmental leagues. They're like, when you coach it, is it next year? And I'm like, I don't know. Like they're gonna be in this sport for so long, probably.
Yep.
I mean, assuming I'd want them to experience everything, right? But they're going to be in, doing sports for so long. Do I really want to commit to being their coach at 10,
You don't
14
wanna get
or
burnt.
17? Yeah, I don't want them to get burnt out, and I don't want to get burnt out, and I don't want to maybe coaching at the early age would be easier for me because then there's less of that competitive frustration. I'm very competitive, by the way. Obviously, I think it's an athlete.
I think you guys will know what I'm talking about here. My dad only coached me in basketball for 2 years when I was really young. And he had opportunities to do it as I was older. And this was obviously not when I'm that age, but why he didn't do it further is he's like, I think there would have been some sort of effect that I wouldn't have done things right for you, or I would have tried to do too much right for you, that it would have impacted you in a negative way. So he was always afraid, like the longer he coached me, they would have negative impacts. That's what he always told me.
Yeah.
Which probably was smart on his part. There you go, Pops. It's called you a smart guy.
My dad coached travel baseball for like 7 years or so for me, and then by the time my brother was playing, my dad just said no.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm the favorite.
Easy.
Here it is. Announced here live, by the way. You can't take that back.
What obviously besides raising, two young children, having a successful real estate career, what are some of your other dreams when it comes to either real estate, personally, professionally? What are some of your dreams and goals?
Another good question.
That was on the list, by the way.
Was it?
It was the list you didn't read, but that's okay. And you can take a second and think on that. We're not going to rush you. And we do have to keep talking because this is actually a podcast. But
Is that what this is?
I'm going to help you out a little bit. Like the dreams, obviously, personally, is right to retire, be able to watch my kids get old. As an older parent, right? I'm 46. My kids are 8 and 5. When I go to watch them play sports, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, your grandparents came," and my kids are gonna be like, "Nope, that's my dad." So I think being able to I get up and I work out in the morning, be able to enjoy the running around with my kids throughout, but also like Brad and I started this team, and I think you can talk to this a little bit, Stephen.
Yeah.
We started this team to not just build something that we can pass on, but also help other agents and support their business. Like I grew up, I was a Boy Scout for years, Eagle Scout. I really enjoyed helping others. And Brad and I talked about this the other day. Like I don't have shit in the pipeline, or I do, but nothing's really like stuff's starting to come together. But like I really enjoy like when one of our team members calls us, be like, "Hey, how do I do this?" Or "What do you think about this?" And you're right. I am very critical. Stephen called me out on before the podcast started. He's like, "Man, this guy critiques all my shit." But I really enjoy helping the team members, maybe with our systems, marketing, whatever it might be. I know the day that I stop helping them is the day they stop calling me and they're like, "Oh, screw Vince, just gonna rip us apart," right? So I hope we don't get there, Stephen.
So I'm gonna try and narrow down these questions. But dreams can be a little bit, dreams and goals, some people say dreams, I have a dream for this. Really, it's goals.
Yeah.
And I know that he's very goal oriented, I'm very goal oriented. I know you're very goal oriented. So I'm gonna help you here.
And we're all very competitive.
So for instance, I always set personal goals every year and I set professional goals. Personally, I'm getting a little up there to play basketball, and every last few times I did, I kept breaking crap. So meaning on myself. So there's certain goals I set every year for golf. Those are my personal goals. Health wise, I set, some health stuff too. So what kind of goals do you focus on from a personal level?
Sure.
Yeah. Great way to reword that.
I mean, that's,
You're welcome.
thank you. Personal goals. I mean, health and fitness is always, it's just kind of who I am. I've always had a passion for it. So I'm going to be doing another triathlon this year. And
Oh, wow.
one of my personal goals would be to beat my time from last year.
Okay.
And
Which triathlon is that? And then where are we supposed to be to support you?
It's the Demon Triathlon. It's,
Okay.
just right in town here.
Okay.
It's the only one, my first one was last year, so, still not a very strong swimmer, but I did not drown. That's
Is it-
also,
Is it in Browns Lake where the swim
it's,
is? Or
it's not in Browns Lake.
or is that the one that's at Aurora?
Yep, it's
Okay.
right over there.
The swim's actually at Aurora.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, you swim in the pool?
No,
Oh.
it's in a lake.
Oh,
There's
it's
a lake over there.
Oh, there is a lake over by Aurora? Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
It's at a camp over there.
About a half mile.
Oh, it's the camp. That's
Yeah.
right. The YMCA camp that's right by there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where it's at. Or yeah,
That's okay.
Girl Scout camp, whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
All right,
Yeah,
keep going.
that's
Sorry.
exactly it. So, that would be a personal goal.
And what was your time? What was your time last year?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
off the top of my head. I know
All
I
right.
did better than I was expecting.
Okay.
It was probably like an hour and a half or something like that. Maybe it was under 2 hours. I know that.
Well, I hope you had it written down so you know whether you beat it
It's
or not.
somewhere on,
He can find it online.
yeah, somewhere. online,
Technology.
Yeah. And then just, I guess, other personal goals would just be, so I did coach, the 8th grade, junior Demons football last
Okay.
year. And I did the 7th grade the year before. So this year I actually am not going to be coaching because I just felt like with my job, I was, taking too much time away from my kids.
Mhm.
So a goal would just be to, when I'm not working, is to just spend all the time I can with my kids until they are, themselves in sports.
Yeah.
I mean, those would be my two, like, I guess, personal goals outside of work. Yeah.
What about professional? And let's not, and we don't have to throw dollar amounts out there. Like, let's, is it number of units? Like, is there a certain?
Yeah, do you focus on units? Do you focus on activity? Like, what do you?
So I used to
focus
be a big units guy. Like I would just say I can't close less than 20 homes per year, no matter
Okay.
what. And I haven't done that since I've started, by the way. But
So he sets
now-
unrealistic goals.
on? Well, this year.
So yeah, I set pretty lofty goals this year, that's for sure.
It's because you're on a team.
Thanks to Brad.
I didn't.
He
I
kind of forced me,
may have forced him.
but
I'll take
but
credit
it's all right.
for that.
So now it's more so based on I guess the GCI
Okay.
overall.
Yeah.
And, trying to get more referrals and focusing on that aspect, just because then I know I'm doing a good job. So-
Yeah, I think that's like the number one telling point in our business, right? If you, I don't know this stat, I think they say every client that you help, they should refer 3 people to you, right? Is that 3?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, over the length of their,
It's-
connection.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, there's a real simple, kind of simpler calculation. I'm gonna get geeky here for a second. Baylor University did a study that for agents, whatever the size of your database is, past clients in your sphere, should yield you 10% of that size. So if you have 300 people that you are in your sphere, past clients, 10% of that, so 30 deals this year is what you should close.
Gotcha.
From those sources, not including the other sources. So that's something I've always tried to do is, think, all right, what's that size? Can I get that number of deals from that? I've always been close. Some years I've eclipsed it. So that's always a goal I have.
Yeah.
Like, can I get to that 10%?
Yeah, I think that's always a good goal, because then you base it off knowing if you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're getting referred from people that know you, then, they trust you.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then another professional goal is, and this might be more unrealistic than any of them, would be to help a Green Bay Packers player this year. because-
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about that. How are you going to do that?
Yeah. How are you accomplishing this?
So I have a plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually part of the Nexus Sports Relocation Group.
Okay.
It's basically a network of agents across the country. And we kind of help each other with not only professional athletes, but, entertainers and just, any client too in general. And you kind of get first dibs at, when a player gets traded or signs free agency, you can be referred to by another agent that has been in touch with them from a different market. So I actually am going to be handling the Green Bay area. I can do
Nice.
Milwaukee as well, but there is pretty well-established agent that's helping most of the Brewers players out there.
Okay.
What about the Bucks players? Who has that?
Hopefully me.
Man,
no,
he catches on quick questions, I swear.
so that's my goal this year would be to help, I guess I can broaden it a little bit. Any professional athlete
Yeah,
in either Wisconsin, preferably, or Illinois.
that's awesome.
If it's a Bears player, I'm gonna have to refer to that Sargents.
That's fine by me. Thank you, buddy. I will pay a hefty referral fee if
I'll
you.
prefer it to you.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's kind of a cool unique goal, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing we really didn't talk about, you're not only licensed in Wisconsin, but you're also licensed in Illinois. You and I talked about it briefly. Where's most of your business come from? Where are you seeing, are you doing a lot of Wisconsin, a lot of Illinois? Is it a mix? Or, what are you in, gosh, I'm going to ask the hard question. Which do you prefer and why?
It might be a hard question, but it's a pretty easy answer for me. I definitely prefer Wisconsin.
Okay.
I love being an agent in Wisconsin. There's a big difference too, I think, for anyone out there that doesn't know how it works in Illinois. But Illinois is an attorney state.
Yeah.
And I'm used to all agents in Wisconsin is we handle everything from start to finish.
Right.
And it was definitely a change last year when I got my Illinois license, having to kind of, you do all the marketing, you do all the efforts to get offers on the table. And then once you come to an agreement with the other party, then it's kind of in the attorney's hand at that point.
You just turn it over.
That's kind of one of the main reasons I prefer to stay in Wisconsin. And I would say it's 90, I don't know. I keep getting listings in Illinois, so I should say maybe 80% of my business is still Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I primarily just got my Illinois license to do listings.
Mhm.
So
Friends and family, right?
Friends
You're
and
from
family,
the
yeah.
Crystal Lake area, so that makes sense. I'm also licensed in Illinois, same reason, from Waukegan. I still have a lot of connections, a lot of roots down there that it only makes sense that we help those that know us, like us, and trust us.
exactly.
It's pretty simple. So,
I have a good question. That's a sneaky question.
I'm such a jackass.
But to be clear, I'm very grateful to have my Illinois license.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So am I. Mine is the continuing education. We have to finish in 23 days
45 hours.
or 22 days.
Well, you guys better get cracking.
I purchased it last night.
You're one step ahead of me.
Hey, I'm first to admit every year, and so this is Wisconsin, continuing education, you're due.
Next year, right?
Yeah.
Or,
Thank God it's not the same year.
yeah. No, I think it's even years. I believe we're due this year.
No, we're due next year.
Is it next year? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's the opposite of Illinois.
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I forget.
Thanks.
Because it
I
doesn't matter.
didn't know.
Doesn't matter. It's due at what? December every year. I do it
Yeah.
on November 30th.
Oh, maybe it is due this year because we didn't do it in December of last year.
I thought I just did mine last year.
So did I. I thought so too. We should look into that before December for the team.
I feel like it's even years, but but it's at the end of the year, so it'll feel like the other year.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, all right. We got a couple more potential questions. So, when you're talking about your background, you started on a team with a different brokerage, came to Coldwell Bankers solo. And then, so why the heck did you join the team again?
It's a good question.
I like how we end with this question, Brad.
Welcome.
We should have started with it.
So I had a background being with the team only. So I knew how important it is to have a good team and how you can be more successful by having a team. So when I did join, I was ready to be an independent agent if I had to be. And so that was kind of for a multitude of reasons why I switched to Coldwell Banker. But when the opportunity arose and I was able to see, what All Eagle Homes was doing, it was kind of a no-brainer for me just because everything else made sense. The team made sense. Everyone on the team I like, and
Yeah, that's key.
yeah.
So
And it's a very collaborative team, which was one of the biggest deciding factors for me. It wasn't about anyone specifically, but rather like the focus is on the team.
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons too. And I just honestly feel like I'll be able to serve my clients better and also do a lot more business just from being on a team versus being by myself.
all right. Now this is gonna run us potentially slightly over, but we're not on an exact time. But
No.
I'm gonna let you flip the script. You can ask one of us each a question if you would like. Put us on the spot since we've been putting you on.
Let's go.
Brad, what made you decide to have Vince be your partner?
Oh,
Or was it the other way around?
darn, that's a good, no, actually,
No,
I
Brad approached me. Brad hawked me for a couple years, but go ahead and answer it.
I did. Well, one, he shares a lot of similar passions I do, both in real estate and personal, like we have similar hobbies, obviously golf.
Yep.
He is one of the definite people I would say is a golf junkie. I'm trying not to compliment him too much because I don't want to get a big head.
Too late.
You know, and I wanted someone to be that I was friends with because there's a thing like you gotta protect business versus friendship, but I kind of see the way he conducts himself. I knew we were brutally honest with each other like before we worked together, so I knew that wouldn't change. Like we'll give each other feedback. Like I said, he ripped. I actually guess Amy ripped my video yesterday, but it was just what brain dump. Come on, don't listen for 3 minutes. You don't want to listen for 3 minutes. But we give each other that feedback, and we ask each other during our meetings with each other. Hey, what can we do different? How can we do this? He has a lot of similar stuff that I do. Also, his strengths counter my weaknesses pretty well.
Yeah.
So I hate.
I'm on time.
I was always on time like a married.
Guys, you guys are both late today. I was on time.
That's true.
Let's just set the record straight.
That's true. Sure. You almost made me lose my train of thought, but I got it. For instance, I'll give an example. I like coming up with marketing ideas, but I cannot stand the actual act of doing something marketing or advertising. He will take that on, even though you may not enjoy it, maybe it's either, but he'll take that on. I just will refuse to. I would rather just pick up the phone, start calling people, networking, chatting, just doing that. He'll call me all the time. He's like, you hate activities that don't actually make money. Immediately.
And it's hard, right?
Well,
Like,
Vince is my first call when I am gonna post something and I need, hey, is this gonna be good? Or,
Yeah.
because I feel like you actually have a very objective opinion and you have an eye for it too. So
I appreciate that.
congrats.
And then when we vet systems, like he's really good about asking really good questions.
Mhm.
Whereas I'm really good at just finally just making a decision. Like I'll just be like, what are the facts?
what's it
Does
gonna
this
cost
make
me?
sense? What's it gonna cost? Yeah, what's it gonna cost? And then it's like, yes or no.
Yeah.
But always getting his value and input. And sometimes we've done stuff that it really wasn't for, but he's like, I think we should do it. And I'm like, well, what you're making sense makes sense. Let's do it. So I think that's what really made a lot of sense. And we both have a vision that we had this conversation last week, and I hope I don't take this in your answers on this, so I feel bad, but he made a comment where he's like, man, I think every agent's called today with like a question. I had a similar experience weeks ago. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I got none of my own stuff done, but it was awesome. I really loved it because we both have this passion for making this team amazing, not just us, but everybody. We want to have just an amazing experience, and we want to be so well known in our community for how we take care of our clients as a whole.
Right.
So there's my answer.
All right, fire away, Stephen.
What is do you have a background in marketing, or how do you?
No, so that's the great question. Someone else just asked me that's I think Richie. I was talking to him yesterday, or maybe Andrea, one of the two, but I talked to them both this weekend about some marketing stuff. And they both asked me the same question. And no, my background is healthcare food service management. Like I went to school, went to Eastern Illinois for hospitality. And really what it is I think I just look at things from the perspective of does it catch, and I've done a lot of research on marketing through like Tom Ferry, Chris Smith, a lot of those guys that do a great job with it. And I say, does it, is it appealing? Does it grab our attention? Brad's, we'll pick on Brad's video yesterday. Yeah, it was a dump. But really, what was the catch at the beginning to keep me intrigued for the next 2 minutes, right? And that's kind of where that comes from is I look at it and say, hey, is this gonna, is it gonna keep our client, is it gonna catch their attention? Does it have a call to action? Things like that. So I think it's just been a lot of self-research and education, but then also like seeing what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like we ran Facebook ads and I'm like, man, that Facebook ad got us 0 clicks and, no business. And then we'll run another one. I'm like, holy crap, that worked. Why did that work so well? Right. So I think it's just, experimenting with different things and seeing what works.
Yeah.
And like you said, like you're going to see a post that gets 100 likes or 100 views, and you're like, wow, what was different about that post versus, the similar post? Was it the time of day?
Trial and error.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the best way to learn.
right. Was it the time of day? Was it, the post itself? So I think a lot of it's trial and error. And like Brad said, prior to us really growing this team, we vetted a lot of systems, a lot of businesses, a lot of processes.
Basically a year and a half.
Yeah.
We spent the first year and a half to a sacrifice of our own business.
Yeah.
To a degree. Just wanted to make sure that that the systems worked. There was what we thought was the best of what's out there at the time. That's always our goal. It's like, what is the best? If we're going to buy lead sources, what's the best right now?
Right.
If we're going to have a system like our follow-up system, is that the best right now, which we believe it is for us and for the team?
Yeah.
So we're always looking for what's the best right now. And boy, it's a painstaking process. Now that we've got the bulk of it done, now it's tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
Which that's where I like it. I love that. I love tinkering with processes and like saying, all right, well, this is okay, but how can we make this better?
Yeah, I'll give you a great example, then we'll end the podcast here. But we use Highfellow. Highfellow is our marketing system that engages our clients to look at their property's value, right? And I saw an agent out there that they had a great landing page. It made me click on it, and it took me to a Highfellow link. And I was like, holy crap, how do I get this landing page? How do I recreate this? So I emailed our rep on Saturday night at like 11 o'clock at night and said, hey, how do I do this? Like, how do we bet? Like, this caught my attention. How do I make an ad like this? And so I'm waiting to hear back, but to your point, it's always about bettering what we have. So
do better.
Yeah.
One of my brothers saying, do better.
Do better. All right. I'm Vince Devall with Eagle Homes, powered by Caldwell Banker, here with Mr. Brad Brewer. Thanks again, Stephen, for joining us. If you can leave our fan base with one thing, what is it?
When you're considering buying or selling, just think Eagle Homes.
I love it.
I
Hey,
totally thought he was going to go Packers.
have a great week, everyone. Yeah. Have a great week, everyone. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Later, bye.